big boss that's special. It ain't no game, but they saying welcome to the second level. Second level gaming. Second level.
Hello, Internet, and welcome back. Welcome to the official Love You Podcast, episode 61. My name's Keegan, hanging out with Tom the other half. How you doing?
I'm grand.
It's good. I'm ready to fall asleep. I'm exhausted. This is
You
warming me
look
out
fucking
today.
knackered.
Dude, this is warming me out today.
It's been a month. We were not in practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't realize you said you're sitting over there. I didn't realize how tired I get doing this. Amen. Keeping energy up is hard. But those of you who are joining us, welcome. And you can see we have a new layout going on. We've actually had it for other two TV shows, or other two shows,
Yeah,
internet
TV show, why
shows,
not? It could be a TV
internet
show.
shows. Codename Morpheus and Indie Please I Details. We basically have a rundown on the side. We got at the bottom. Down there, it tells us what we're talking about. I can't see it, but they can. Somewhere down there.
You can? I can see that.
Can you look through the table? Because they can clearly see the table in front of you, Tom.
God damn it. It's ruin the illusion.
But this is the official Love 2 podcast where we kind of pull the curtain behind the curtain behind the curtain. We talk about what it's like to be here. Yeah, there's a lot of curtains.
I used
Maybe
to have curtains when I was a kid. Not like curtains, like curtains. You know what I'm saying?
no.
Hair curtains.
No.
Fair enough. Moving on.
But the way this works is I pick a topic, we play a little game in the middle, and then Tom picks a topic. My topic is, do video games deserve a 10, aka a perfect score? And what prompted this was I went through the other day and kind of looked at like Metacritic, and I looked at IGN's top 10 games that were given perfect 10s from them. And I'm going to go through that list real quick, and then we're going to discuss.
Okay.
So, this is every modern game. I'm going to start with that. That
Okay.
IGN, which can be debatable, gave 10 out of 10.
So everyone they got paid to review. I'm joking.
IGN does not
Joking.
get paid for their reviews because that is slander, Tom. That could be
That's why I said I was
libel.
joking. That's the.
It's not a joke. And journalistic integrity is all
it
we
is a
have.
joke. It's definitely a joke.
God of War, reviewed April 12th, 2018. Celeste, reviewed January 25th, 2018.
Never heard of it.
Super Mario Odyssey. Dude, Celeste is amazing. It's a perfect Switch game. Mario Odyssey, reviewed October 26th, 2017. Undertale. I'm not going to say all the days. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Inside. The Witness. Metal Gear Solid 5. The Phantom Pain. GTA Auto 5. The Last of Us. The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, Uncharted 3, Drake's Deception, Pac-Man Championship Edition DX.
Interesting.
I can't scroll. There we go. Super Mario Galaxy. Oh, wait. Red Dead Redemption, Undead Nightmare. Super Mario Galaxy 2, GTA 4, Metal Gear Solid 4, Pokemon Red and Blue, Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, and that's it. So those are the games that IGN has said are 10 out of 10. Best games ever made.
Some shockers on there, to be honest. I've never seen this list before, so yeah, there's some shockers on
So
there.
what shocked you?
I've never heard of Celeste.
Celeste is an amazing game.
That's fine, but I've never heard of it. And I would think if it was 10 out of 10, that at least at some point in my life I would have run across it.
Yeah, but you don't follow indies nearly as much as it's an indie game.
Scroll down a little bit. Inside in The Witness, I thought like a perfect 10, really? But the one that really got me was that Phantom Pain. Come on, 10 out of 10? No. I think that's hype. I think that's like, it sounds weird to say it. Phantom Pain was a very good game. Guns of the Patriot was a very good game as well. But a 10, no.
And
Like,
this
you're saying at this point that game is flawless, which is incorrect.
So here's the Metacritic scores for the top games. I'm not going to go through them all, but I'm going to go through real quick so you guys can see the comparison. Zelda Ocarina of Time has a 99, highest rated game of all time. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 on PlayStation has a 98.
Don't even argue with that, honestly.
Grand Theft Auto 4 for PS3. Soul Calibur on DC. Assume
Dreamcast?
Oh yeah, forgot about Dreamcast. GTA 4 on 360. I love that they distinguish between PS3 and 360 here. Super Mario Galaxy on Wii. Super Mario Galaxy on Galaxy 2 on Wii. GTA 5 on Xbox One. GTA 5 on PS3. GTA 5 on Xbox 360. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 on Dreamcast. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild on Switch. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 PS2, Perfect Dark Zero N64, GTA 5 on PS4. By the way, the GTA 5 also have the same scores, just where they fall in this
Does it
ranking.
blow your mind that in the top 11 games of all time, 2 of them are Dreamcast games?
No, because Dreamcast was a good console. It just was ahead of its time.
To me, that's just like, whoa, that's kind of weird.
Metroid Prime is on there as well. Apparently that's Dreamcast. What? So, I don't know. I feel like it depends on how you look at a score rating. Because if you look at it like...
Answer the question flat first. Do games deserve a 10? Just flat, yes or no. Don't give me gray area.
I see. I can't give a straight answer because like part of me says yes, and part of me is like, well, there's no such thing as a perfect game.
Yeah,
but
that's the right answer.
If you look at this, if you look at a scale though, a 10 doesn't necessarily mean a perfect game. If you look at it on a scale of 0 to 10, not 10 out of 10, just 0 to 10, with 10 being the highest. 10 is not technically a perfect score.
I don't know if that's how they.
That's how IGN does it.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, so IGN has come out and said a 10 is not a perfect game. It is a game you have to play.
Gotcha.
And they have a whole ranking system that I'm sure I could find somewhere. I didn't pull it up, but they kind of say a 10 is a must play, an 8 is a should play, a 6 is don't, or maybe like kind of maybe if you're into it, and then anything below that like don't play. And I find it interesting because like to me there's no such thing as a perfect game. Every game has a flaw no matter what it is.
There's a lot of really, really close ones, but nothing is perfect.
Well, even the close ones, like Breath of the Wild, right now is one of the highest rated games of all time, and Breath of the Wild has a lot of issues. The weapon durability sometimes is an issue when you can't find that stuff. The size of that game is an issue to some people. Like a lot of people like having large games, but at the same time, I know a lot of people like couldn't finish the game because of the size of the game. That then leads to the question: review in progress. Like, do you have to complete a game to give it a 10? Most reviewers don't 100% games. There's very few people that do. What does that entail? How do you kind of make that happen? What is like these are the things you take when you go into reviewing. Like, I know when I review a game, I will play enough to know what I'm getting into. Unless it's story based, then obviously you got to finish the story, and I think then it makes a difference. But like when I played Laser League, we don't give scores on our reviews, and that's for a reason. I don't think somebody should look at a score and judge a game.
Yeah, I don't think scores are useful.
I think they're useful in marketing when it comes to
the developer. Sure.
No, I'm talking about should I buy this or no. I think if they're like a 90 or above on Metacritic is a you must play, not what's the difference between a 93 and a 92.
Right.
It's just you must play, avoid, that type of thing. Like
you can still get that point across without attaching it.
No, yeah, that's why. Like I think is it GameRanks that does like buy, rent, or avoid or something. Somebody does that.
Yeah, there's like a buy, rent, never touch or something like that.
And I love that concept because it's so true. Because there's so many times where like, or even now it should be instead of rent, it should be like get on sale.
Yeah.
Because there's so many times that happens. Like I was watching a video the other day. Well, actually, it might have been this morning about. Top 10 games that shouldn't have been $60, and number 2, it was either number 2 or number 1. I can't remember which one, but it was the Order 1866.
Oh yeah,
and it was funny because the guy in the video was like, even for the $20 price tag it's at right now, it's not worth it. It's like a tech demo, and that game didn't review well because it didn't play well.
It was like 2 hours long.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I guess the way I look at game reviews is if they do it on a scale of should it, yes, no, or maybe. Like the maybe is the hardest part when you're in the middle. Like it depends on personal preference.
But games are situational as well. Like for example, like you said, like if it's a 6, sometimes it's like if you're into it, right? Mm-hmm. So you could have the best fucking NASCAR game in the world. I'm probably not going to enjoy it as much as you are. So there's a lot of like niche games. Not every game is designed to be played by every human. So it's like there's a level of stuff that like there may be like a really amazing poker game that I happen to really love because I really like poker. Whereas if someone doesn't know even how to play poker, they're not going to give a shit. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of subjectivity to it, which is why I don't like attaching numbers to it because I feel like it's almost unfair to the game and to the developers to say this. I rate this a 4 out of 5. So whatever. So that's when I do reviews at very least. I always just do pros and cons of the game, and then like at the end I'll put my own like if I think it's worth it or not. But my judgment is not this is 8 out of 10. My judgment is you should pick this up, or you should wait for a sale, or whatever, or like you should stay far the fuck away from this. Like that's kind of how I rank it, without doing the format of that other person.
Because I think a game we both can agree that has completely changed the way we look at video games is Last of Us. And Last of Us got a perfect score. Got a 10. Got a 10 from IGN. Do I think Last of Us is a perfect game? No. Do I think it does a lot of shit right? Yes. And I think it's funny because as time goes on, you'll see the flaws more and more as people innovate on things. So like right now, again on Metacritic, Ocarina of Time is the #1 game. Do I think Ocarina of Time is the best game of all time? I don't think so. But that's also
Zelda game of all time.
It could be true. Even Breath of the Wild better than it though? Like because Breath of the Wild changed so much about the formula.
I think Ocarina is just legendary, but I think a lot of that is rose-tinted glasses too.
That's what I was gonna say. Do you think some of it is looking back on it, like, oh
but
yeah?
But then, like, for example, with Metal Gear like I think when I first played Metal Gear, I was like, this is unbelievable. Like this is amazing. Oh, look at all the stuff you can do. It's not until you start to get to the later levels of it that you're just kind of like, this is kind of getting a little dry now. And it's like you said, it's this kind of initial burst of joy that you get from having a good video game, and then that can wear with time, where maybe 5 months down the line you look back at it and you're like, you know what, it was a good game, but it wasn't a great game. Like that's very true.
I mean, one of the things I said when Inside came out is I thought Inside was one of the greatest games of the year. Do I think Inside is one of the greatest games of all time? No. Do I think it deserved to be rated high that year? Yes. And I still think people should play Inside and experience it, but do I think Inside is on the same level as Last of Us? No. Do I think Inside's on the same level as even GTA 5? And GTA 5 has a lot of issues because of how big it is. No. But
you bring up an interesting point. Sorry, before you continue, indie versus AAA as well. Like,
I mean, The Witness was on there.
Right, The Witness and Inside were in there, but how do you rate someone that has a budget of $20,000 versus someone that has a budget of a couple million? You know what I mean?
Or a few $100 million if you're GTA.
Yeah, exactly. So that's another sort of thing to bring in there, is that's almost
Undertale.
For a game like Undertale or for Inside, that list means so much more than it does for the God of War team. I'm sure it means a lot that the God of War team put all that hard work in, and they finally got like this sort of like, everyone was like, because God of War was getting stale. When they did God of War Ascension, everyone was just kind of like, I'm kind of done with this. But then when they come out with this thing and they changed up so much, they took so many risks on this version of God of War, like not making it traditional God of War and kind of going for the one take and not having the Chains of Chaos as the main weapon and having the secondary person there all the time and all that kind of stuff. I think they took so many risks that they were probably just grateful to get a good score, let alone like be renowned as one of the best games of all time right now.
And I don't think I'm getting a lot of shit when I say this. I don't think God of War is one of the best games of all time. I think it's got some of the most hype behind it. I think it does a lot right, but I also think if you think of from a core gameplay perspective, what do you do in God of War?
Kill things.
Well, a little bit broad, or a little bit more narrow than that.
Kill things.
You solve puzzles, you kill things. How do you kill things?
With an axe.
With an axe, and with your
fists.
Spoiler alert: the Blades of Chaos are back. So you fight with that. Does that do anything new for video games?
Does it have to?
I think to push and make a game better, yes. But because if you're doing the same thing, why didn't God of War 1, 2, and 3?
You're taking a tiny element of what makes God of War, and not saying so. What did do for video games is the way that the narrative structure was told, being that it was all told in a very cheekily and sometimes cheesily single shot, and became the longest media property to be a one-shot take for the entire thing. What did that do for video?
But does that make a game a 10? Because anybody can make anybody can make a 10.
The boundary.
But to me, yes, but I still feel like that doing a one-shot take does not matter compared to like gameplay or something like that. Like repetitive gameplay to me, it's funny because I love Division, which is repetitive gameplay. But to me, like the repetitive gameplay, God of War, the newest God of War 2018 did not do combat-wise, in my opinion, a lot different outside of no more QTEs compared to 1, 2, and 3. Would you agree?
Yeah.
What they did differently, in what you're getting at, is the story. And I think if we had to rate like story-wise, I think God of War is one of the best stories ever ever made for a video game. Last of Us being up there with it as well. Even potentially some Uncharted's, like they know what they're doing.
All the stuff is really
there's lots of them.
It's amazing, yeah.
But I guess the big question is what makes a video game a 10?
Well, I'm still leaning on the side of the fence that I don't think anything deserves a 10, to be honest with you, because I know that it makes sense when you explain it with your way of like, 0 to 10. Should I play this, as opposed to saying this is a perfect game or not? But I've always, and I can't help it, I always look at it more like a diving score.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, 10, you got a 10, it was perfect. Everything. Like, that's how I've always looked at it. And even if IGN want to put their own spin on it and say, well, that's not quite how we do it, guys. It's kind of how everyone sees it, whether you think it or not, right? Whether that's your intent or not. If someone says 10 for a game out loud, or to the millions of teenagers that are wanting to look at that game, they are hearing in their ears, perfect game. They're hearing this game is flawlessly amazing.
Whoever said that it's a 10 out of 10 though?
I think a lot of the earlier websites, because they always did 10/10, which just means 10 out of 10. And then it wasn't like IGN now just has like a
4.5 or 8.5.
Yeah, there's like one thing.
Yeah.
So admittedly, they've probably tweaked it, but I know when they started out, that was not how they were reviewing games at all.
And IGN's actually gone down with how many 10s they've given.
Right. And I think a lot of it's because they come under huge criticism for the same reasons I was saying earlier, that like people were saying, well, is Call of Duty paying you to give them this fucking score when it's basically the same game every year? And they're not, I'm sure, but it's still kind of shitty. But yeah, I don't know if I think games are art, right? Mm-hmm. And I know that there's the argument. Yeah, there's the argument for games as art, but I think any game, even a weird, shitty, even Agony, which is just like death and destruction. Actually, Agony is probably more artistic than most, but like even like fucking
Call of Duty,
BMX XXX or whatever, right? Even one of
Dave Mears BMX,
exactly. Even one of those games technically is still art. It is still something that was built and created by a team of people put together for other people's entertainment, enjoyment, for whatever reason or purpose that may be. So, because of the nature of art, as you succinctly pointed out a second ago, it's very subjective. Mm-hmm. So it's a point where what is a 10 out of 10 for you versus a 10 out of 10 for me? And the person that's reviewing the game is one human being, one flawed human being that has taste, and has taste that's had the same taste or, varying tastes over the years. So if you review God of War and I review God of War, we're probably going to give it 2 different scores. So... And that's why I think the scoring system in general is bullshit, but especially the whole idea of having a perfect game or close to a perfect game or whatever is just, there's no point in even trying it, because it's just like, it's just so silly. It's just, I don't know. It's frustrating. I would much rather they told you, and to IGN's credit, they do absolutely do this, where they say, here are the pros, here are the cons. That's all I really give a shit about. Mm-hmm. Like, tell me what's really good about this game, tell me what's not so great about this game, and then tell me if you think it's worth the price tag, because the price tag is also a huge factor. Mm-hmm. Is it a 10 out of 10 game if it's $60 versus is it a 10 out of 10 game if it's $30? So that's another thing that plays into it. It's just so variable and subjective. It's a stupid system.
But even with that, though, a 10 out of 10 game, 30 versus 60 doesn't change the way the game is made.
No, but it also. But is it the price tag builds into the overall score rating?
Is that then based? Is a review then based on valuation and all that kind of stuff versus being a good game?
Precisely. Do you? And most of them are. Most of them are like, is it worth like the price tag, or is it worth the price tag? Is kind of a subgenre of reviewing, because you have like gameplay, graphics, audio, whatever, all that kind of shit. But really, like, is it worth $20? Is in that list for most reviewers, because that's the be-all, end-all of it. That's the final thing you got to ask yourself. With all of these things in play, with these graphics and this audio and this sound quality and what are these voice actors or whatever, with all of this in play, laid out on you with a big plate, is that plate worth this? Is kind of the question that any reviewer is really trying to answer. So it would make much more sense to view it from like, these are the great things about this game, these are the not so great things about this game, this is whether it's worth this money or not. That's how I look at it. Mm-hmm. I am not IGN, I don't get paid enough to,
Well, I'm just thinking from like Inside, prime example. Inside was what, a $30, $40 game launch?
It wasn't like 40, it was 20, 30.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Something like that at launch. And like, it's up there with some of the best games of all time.
Yeah.
And like you pointed out, The Witness is up there. And I would argue that The Witness graphically is not that pretty. But the puzzle mechanics and the gameplay mechanics is what makes that game great, in my
But
opinion.
how can you give that a 10 if the graphics are not unbelievable? Because that's what that means.
That's my
You know
point.
what I mean?
But those games aren't full price. So do they get a
pass.
do they get a pass because of that? So that's
a
where
good
that's
point.
where you're running into that issue of like, hey, just because it's $30, the graphics aren't as good. Is it still just as good of a game?
Yeah.
So
Because you don't want to ding something that doesn't have the team behind it to make it look like fucking Detroit or whatever, one of these new beautiful games that have come out recently.
God of War.
You don't. I mean, Jonathan Blow, I'm sure, did the best possible work he could do on that game, and it showed, and people really liked it. But at the same time, like, to have a perfect score, you're saying that every individual element of your general review plate, being gameplay, graphics, sound, etc., also has a perfect score, because that's the only way to get to a 10 is to have everything else have a 10. So if your graphics are not like, unless it's the art style,
Art style, which art style is
I
then
can
a different
understand.
story.
Yeah, art style I can understand. But all of these things that we're coming up with is saying, oh, unless it's this, unless it's that, unless it's an indie, unless it's art style, those are the variables that mean that just go to show how stupid it is to have a universal review for something. Because I wouldn't review a student movie the same way I would review a new fucking Marvel Universe movie. Because,
Expectations.
Yeah, but I still might give the student movie, like, say, this is incredible, guys should go watch this movie, it's unbelievable. But I know that they don't have the same cameras and the same post-editing capabilities and the same CGI
Same
people,
writers.
and that these other companies can afford. So it just seems so weird to me that we're putting, you don't go to the Louvre and say, Mona Lisa, 10 out of 10. You know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense. So, no, I don't think we should be giving out 10s, but I also don't think we should be giving out scores.
Yeah.
Is kind of what
That's
it
where
boils
I
down
stand,
to for
too.
me. Yeah.
What do you guys think? I'd love to know your guys' opinions on this, because this was just one that, like I said, popped in my head one
No, it's
day,
a good
wrote it
question.
down,
It's
and
a
I was
really
like,
good question. Yeah.
So I'd love to know what you guys know. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump into our game here.
It's coming up next.
So we're playing Name That Game, or whatever the hell we called it. I don't know.
bad.
Is that what we ended up calling it?
That's what.
Basically, we go through, and Tom has to ask me closed questions, which basically is a direct answer. So I can't do explanation on it. So, like, a closed question would be:
It's a one-word answer or a yes or no.
Is there humans in this game? Yes or no?
What's
or is this guy-
What's the protagonist's favorite color?
Is the sky blue?
Yeah, that type of stuff.
So the only question he's not allowed to ask is what genre. That's the one we've kind of nixed because it narrowed
Universally
down so
agreed,
quickly.
it's too
Yeah. But that being said, let's move into question number 1, Tom. Let's see what your question is.
I think I'll ask my usual first question, which is, in which platform did it first come out?
I'm trying to find
You got the wiki open?
dates. Yeah, I got Wikipedia open. You know, it's reliable.
Yeah, we could be wrong about all of these. By the way, guys, thanks for joining in to the new show. Thanks for bearing with us for a month while he's looking for things. I thought I'd just chat a little bit here.
It was Microsoft Windows, PlayStation 2, and Xbox, original Xbox, otherwise known as the OG Xbox.
Okay, so that gives me era. Does the game have any sequels?
Yes.
Is it a sports game?
No.
Thank God. Knock that one off the list. Okay, so it came out, but it did come out for both platforms and PC at the same time. So it's not a console exclusive. Does the main character have a gun? Have you played it? Just like,
That's a question.
yeah, all right.
So I'm just making sure I didn't.
Can I rephrase that question without burning it?
They do not have guns.
Okay. You said they?
Yeah, they do not have guns. The main characters.
I
Do not
heard you
have
said
guns.
character. Now I know
Yes.
there's characters. You give away too much information, my friend. Okay.
That's why I had to check to make sure none of them had guns.
Totally fine.
Oh wait, I lied. They do have guns.
All of them, or one of them, or a couple of them, or
All of them.
I will. So they all have.
They all have guns. Sorry, there was so they gave me a description about them, and then underneath there was more about the actual gameplay itself.
Okay.
They do have firearms.
They all have firearms.
Yes,
Okay.
I can guarantee that now because this says exactly.
Is it Eastern or Western?
When you say Eastern or Western, you're talking about Japan versus. It is definitely Western.
Okay.
It is definitely Western.
So I was thinking like Persona or Final Fantasy. Or
Let's see
something
who
like
made
that.
it.
Okay, so we got, so far, to summarize,
I love that they don't tell me where they're from.
came out on the PC, PS2, and original Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
Has characters, and those characters have guns.
Yes,
But it's not a sports game.
correct. Because they don't.
Really evil sports game. Shoot the other guy. You win. Okay. Okay. Gosh, I need to narrow this down as easily as possible. Let's see here. Is it on my shelf?
I want to say no.
Ah, shit.
I'm not. I can go look, but I'm 99% sure you do not have this game.
Okay. I'll accept that answer.
Yeah, I'm fairly confident. Unlike the gun question.
Are the main characters traditional human beings?
Yes.
See, the thing that's throwing me off, if I'm honest, is that the fact that you had to think if they had guns.
Yeah, that's just me not reading.
No, but if it was like a game, if it was like Mercenaries or something, you would know they had guns. You know what I mean? But
I've not played this game.
yeah.
So,
Okay. Well,
that's why I
you gave
didn't
that
know.
one away for free as well.
Yeah, that's because I mean, name a game that has guns that I've played.
You played lots of games. What are you talking about? With guns?
Name one.
Fucking Overwatch yesterday.
I know, but that's not from Xbox.
Halo.
That's fair.
Yeah. Shut up.
It did have sequels. Is that your answer?
No.
Are you sure?
It can't be Halo because Halo isn't exclusive to the Xbox.
No, it's not. It's on PC.
It wasn't on PlayStation though.
That's as far as you know.
I know.
I forgot it was on PlayStation. I was trying to throw you off there.
It's supposed to be on the Mac as well. Right.
It originated on the Mac.
Exclusive.
It originated on the Mac.
Yeah.
Is
That's
that
so weird?
Is that one of those conferences that they?
Yeah. They showcased it. Yeah.
Yep.
At like Macintosh World or whatever.
Yep, Macworld.
God damn, this is gonna be annoying. Okay. So far so generic. Do the characters have a mode of transportation, and if so, what is it? You can count that as 2 if you want to. I'd rather you count it as 1. Or let me rephrase it. What is the mode of transportation if they have one?
Their feet.
So there's no vehicles that they use.
As far as I know, there's no
Just
vehicles.
walk around a place shooting people.
Yes.
Shit. God damn it. I got nowhere so far. I got nowhere. Okay. What is the age group of the characters?
High school.
Okay. Making progress. And they have guns? This is America. Of course they do. You did say it was very Western. Okay. High school kids with
I was
guns.
gonna say, definitely is not Asian.
High school kids with guns. I'm gonna take a stab at it. You ready? And I'm gonna be wrong, but I'm gonna try. Is it obscure?
Yeah. That's impressive. Obscure is a survival horror video game developed by Hydrovision Entertainment and published by Dreamcatcher Interactive in North America, Ubisoft in China, and MC2 Microids in other territories for Microsoft Windows, PS2, and Xbox. It was released on October 1st, 2004 in Europe, and on April 6th, 2005.
Wow.
I was hoping to go with the name Obscure to throw it off.
So you're like, did you just type in obscure game?
Yeah, I did. And it popped up, and I was like, "Oh, there's a sequel." Must have done all right.
Okay.
Well, no, so we're
Sequel was terrible.
So there's this character list of like the people. I was like, and it said nowhere in there about characters. I went down to gameplay, and it's like the game also allows players to combine items. For example, taping flashlight to any firearm.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize there were.
Yeah, you have bats and firearm. I've played it. It's actually really good. It's a co-op survival horror game set in a high school. It's basically Resident Evil.
I'm surprised you got. I mean, I'm not surprised you got that, but.
No, that's a great game. I wish it was on my shelf because it's a fucking stunning game. The sequel was shitty. It's called like Obscure Aftermath or something like that.
But that's exactly what it's called. Obscure Q Aftermath.
Yeah, but the first one, me and my buddy would play it co-op, and it was really, really good, really fun. But it was like
took you 11 questions. I think it's the quickest.
I'm giving myself props for that. I was not expecting it. As soon as you said teenagers with guns, the only thing I could think of was that game because it's the only game I could think of that had high schoolers that were Western. That like
technically, so when it's Western, it's not American, by the way. It's made in France. So that's why I was like, Western. Do you mean Japan and like America? Like,
yeah, no.
The more I was like, do you consider Japan to be the East?
Basically, yeah.
That's what it was. Because I was like, technically, it's east of us.
God, I can't believe I got that. That's so funny.
So Tom got it. Did you get it?
Did you?
I don't think they did.
Totally have to buy that now. Actually, it's our game, so you may not like it.
No,
it is a good game, believe it or not.
So now that we're done with the game, let's move into Tom's Tales coming up here in a second.
Level 2, yeah.
And we're back with the final part of the show, which is my tales. That doesn't sound as good as Tom's Tales, does it? But it sounds stupid when I say Tom's Tales because I don't like the whole like refer to yourself in third person thing.
It's Keegan's Corner. It's gonna say next to your head Tom's Tales.
Yeah. All right, Tom's Tales. So I'm really like I don't have like a super rhetorical question or anything like that. I just wanted to talk about.
Well, we had the same topic, but then you're like, yeah, I've already doing this. Like, fine, I'll come with that.
I mean, so this should be probably a little bit longer just because it's both of us have things to say. But we just want to talk about the time we were away and what we have coming up because. This is our Metacast where we get to talk to you about what it's like to be a YouTube channel and how you grow and thrive and survive and things
deal
like
with deal with life,
with chaos. So as you know, Keegan's car broke down.
That was the start of all this.
That was the start of all of it, and he also had some court stuff to deal with, and I got very sick, and
I'm still dealing with the DMV since March.
You're still dealing with them. You also had an accident already. Not your fault. Worth pointing out. You got rear-ended.
Our buddy Bertrand decided to break his wrist. Our buddy David decided to almost die.
Almost died.
Like that's not an exaggeration.
I swear to God, the whole like stream team has just been cursed.
Tegrado's had some stuff with his grandmother going on.
Yeah.
Like it's just been.
It's been a shit show. To be polite.
Wheezy's wife has had some stuff.
God,
like
yeah, I forgot all about it.
Yeah, it's.
Just
I think everybody in our group. Has Brian had anything? Brian's dad.
Yeah,
dude, everybody's had it. Dude, it's been
a month.
Probably
so
a little bit more than a month.
Yeah, everyone that we know basically has had something shitty happen. I've had like the least shittiest things, I think. So
well, your basement flooded with
My
shit.
basement did flood, as you remember. Right now, as we're recording, actually, you obviously can't see it, but the carpet got tore the fuck up because it was just drenched in sewage water. We did get that fixed, and then we found out during the getting that fixed part that our boiler was leaking as well. So we had a guy come out and install a new boiler. So that was another week gone. So we basically just had like all this shit thrown at us.
And the part was we talked about coming back and recording, and I think 9 times out of 10 I was the guy I'd be like, I've got too much going on, I got to take care of. And I don't get into specific details about the legal stuff, but that was the stuff that was probably stressing me out the most among everything
No one
else.
likes the
Once
legal stuff.
once I figured out my car, I was like, okay, cool. The legal stuff, though, if they can put you behind bars, it's a real thing. You got to
then
take
you
care
wouldn't
of.
be able to record
And
at
just so
all.
everybody knows, it's nothing like I didn't murder anybody. I don't have like an arrest warrant out for
Little bit
me.
of murder.
Yeah, I don't have an arrest warrant or anything out for me. It's just something I got to take care of being an adult. And then on top of that, like I said, my car, I've been fighting with the DMV to get my license that expired on my birthday, which was March 12th.
Which reminds me, I also got a driver's permit.
Yeah. Goodness.
I got a driver's permit because I felt like it. And I drove a car twice.
But that's good news. We're here to dwell on the bad.
Yes, sorry, let's dwell on Let's be miserable for a minute. No, but, so we were away for a while, and we're very sorry for that. We know that you guys like the show, and weirdly enough, we have more subs now than when we left, which I did not expect to happen. I
No,
thought
well,
we'd lose a
the
bunch.
weirdest part is when I made the video, because I feel like every week I made a video like, sorry guys, not this week, not this week. And I finally was like, look, I'm going to take a step away, and just, I don't know when I'm going to be back, but I remember texting you, like, you got to promise me you'll be back. I go, I promise I'll be back. I don't know when that'll be. I was guessing roughly a month based on everything that had gone on and how the sequence of events had happened. But I remember that video and putting it up and just getting the feedback both on the video and people messaging me of like, hey, there's other things that are important in life too. I was like, I get it, but I'm going to miss it.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks because, like, I think I'm feeling a bit peppier now than I was. Whenever we do our core shows, I'm always like super fucking drained by the end. But this show always like I feel like I can relax a little bit. But yeah, I mean, long story short, we had some shit, and we're back. And the good news is that not only do we have this fabulous new format that you're viewing with your eyeballs, if you're on audio, again, we said this a couple times, but if you're only listening to the audio version of this podcast, please do take a peek at level2gamers.com and actually spend just a few minutes looking at the video version and kind of check out what you're missing. That's not saying don't listen to the audio version. I just want you to see the new stuff for a second, just so you know that if you do have the opportunity to watch the video, it's usually going to give you way more cool shit than the audio will.
Because you can do so much with audio.
Right. We can only talk, really.
We could voice change at some point in the future if we wanted to.
Yeah, maybe. You may notice in the audio, by the way, that you have some like nice little random musical interludes now. Those are actually bumpers on the main show. So those have like video footage of our favorite moments, basically, of being a channel, which I thought was a sort of a cute thing to do. So
Which we argued over.
we did argue over, but we compromised because that's what we do.
I let you have the one, you let me have like the 12.
Yeah. It's fine. So basically, bad stuff's. I have no wood to knock on. Thank you. Bad stuff's over.
I still got a couple things. I'm still trying to get my driver's license.
Bad stuff's almost
Fun fact.
over.
Oh, well, actually, I won't flash it on the screen because my driver's license is still a piece of paper. I don't have the real one yet.
Don't do that. But for the most part, we're through the woods, and basement is recordable in again. You're not going to jail, which is good.
As far as I know.
Yet, and except for the other thing, but
Yeah.
just kidding. And
My car is functioning, even
Your
though
car is
it's
functioning.
got a dent.
despite the dent.
But
And-
the good news to that, so the bright side of that is it was not my fault. So the other person's insurance is paying 100% for it. So it's just taking it, fucking dealing with insurance companies and getting it taken in to be
You know
repaired.
what else I did yesterday? Actually, I went to the gym for the first time in ever.
You were bitching the whole time when you had to, too.
Yeah.
You're not a gym person.
No.
I'm gonna make you. We're gonna do PopCon, and I've started running. Like before I came here, I was actually up going Creepcore Lake and just ran around there.
I've run before. Once.
To and from the video game store
To and from my couch to the
to the bathroom.
yeah. I've done that.
Oh shit!
But no, I did go to the gym. So I've got a driver's permit. I drove a car and I went to the gym. I'm becoming an adult, ladies and gentlemen, and so is he. But
Quicker than I wanted to.
we're wanting to move away from misery and fucking, just shitty things happening in our life, which is partially why we did the new style. Because if we're going to come back, let's come back with a bang. I will point out that we may have another small absence of these shows simply because we have Indie PopCon coming up really soon,
week.
which is kind of what we want to talk about. So Indie PopCon 2018.
We are leaving. It's when you see this, we'll be at our Indie, potentially at our panel.
No.
Because this goes up Saturday. A week from this.
Yeah, it's the week.
Sorry, a
after
week from
yes.
this.
Let's say it better fucking not be this weekend. I think I would remember that. So we're going to Indie PopCon. Good news, we got a panel again. Last time we went, we got a panel. We did a panel on
I stressed the fuck out.
being a small YouTuber and the struggles that come with it and how to overcome them. And
I feel like we should do that right now. Be like, hey, just so you know, the month leading up to
we'll
this.
definitely bring it up.
Ugh.
But we met some really cool people there. Shout out to Claire Dactyl, Nuts and Dolts, and some of the folks that we met out there.
Claire Dactyl said she'll be at it again this year.
Awesome.
So she said she'll stop
nice
by.
to see her. Of course, all the big guys that came and hung out with us as well, Crank Gameplays and those guys. But it was a blast. The panel was, I think, both of our favorite part of. I mean, there were some really good parts.
So fun.
That was a good
fun fact.
Good
the panel was the last good thing to happen to me last year.
I think so.
Because that's after
think
that.
you're right,
Because
yeah.
after that, everything just went downhill, and I went in this super deep depression for a little while.
That was true.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we did have like the.
I mean,
the rest of indie was okay.
Well,
'Cause
yeah.
You got the
Well,
dancing.
yeah. But yes. But like after Indie
that was
PopCon,
the highest I've ever seen you.
yeah. And then I crashed hard because
Yeah.
Chester and Grandma and other things.
Just
happened.
lots of things. So.
Oh, other thing before we move on to positive. Well, I guess it's not really negative. My parents are moving. They're selling their house.
Where to?
Same place. They're down. My brother's officially out of
New York.
Yeah, they're staying in the same city.
Cool.
Or trying to, but my brother's officially in college, so they're downsizing.
Oh, okay.
So they're excited because their taxes will be a lot less.
Can't complain about that.
Yeah.
So we're doing it again this year, except this year is going to be bigger and better, quite literally. We're going to be in a bigger room.
We're in the medium room,
We're
not
in
the small
medium
room.
Hold on, small room last time, large room next year. And
Don't jinx it.
yeah. So the panel this time around is going to be YouTube or Twitch, which platform is right for you. And because it is a panel that's based upon YouTube and Twitch, even though we do both, we're going to do our very best to have our friend who has been on the show before, and we've interviewed her and such easily. She's a huge Twitch personality. She's a Twitch partner, big in strategy games like, what is it, Planet Coaster and City something or other.
Skylines.
Thank you. But she does those
City
games,
something.
and yeah, I don't play them. But she does those games, and she has a huge following. And I mean, this is a chick that gets like 70 to 130 viewers per stream, which is where she's a partner. But just huge on Twitch, and she knows more about Twitch than we do by a long shot. In fact, most of the last time we had her on the show, we were just peppering her with questions because we were looking into getting more heavy on Twitch.
But we know YouTube.
Yeah, but we know YouTube pretty damn good. You more than me, but I've been doing it for long enough now that I have an inkling of what's going on as well. So we thought we'd combine forces. So the last time we did our panel, we were at 700 subs. This time we're at 1,310. Almost doubled. Almost 90 more. If we can get 90 more in like a week, then we'd be exactly double where we were when we went there last time, which is kind of cool.
How do you know what number we were at?
I remember saying it at the show. It was like 7:30
because I don't
or something,
remember.
But I'm rounding down. So between our YouTube knowledge and Easily's Twitch knowledge, we believe we have a pretty solid base to inform people on which platform would be better for like what it is that they're trying to get into. And we're super excited to be doing this panel. We're super excited to be doing it in a bigger room. We're really hoping that as many of you come out as possible. I mean, honestly, we didn't promote that at all. We just put it up there and people voted for it, which means there's probably going to be a big turnout because we didn't even tell anyone we were
My favorite thing is I was just looking to see what we're going against that weekend. Crank and Gerbili, who you would know as the Crank, you'll know. Ethan. They're on the main stage when we finish.
Oh gosh.
So we're not fighting with them. And then the things we're going against on the main stage, because this is what I think about, is like what are we going against to potentially pull people away from the panel? And there's nothing really like in the YouTube sphere. There's sci-fi, superheroes, gender and sexuality in fictional worlds. That's kind of cool. But like the YouTube one is them at 4. So they spaced us out really well to potentially have, and we're in the middle of the fucking con. Like,
Yeah.
we're prime time right in the middle. It's like, well, okay, doing this.
So we're really excited about it. We're obviously going to record it for you guys, and luckily we'll have our own audio as well. So it should be really high quality. We don't have to tap into the soundboard. We can just put a mic on.
Fun fact too. Somebody copied ours from last year. There's one called Test Grades and YouTube Subscribers: The Good, Bad, and Ugly About Being a YouTuber in School.
Huh.
I haven't looked at these yet. I need to look at these panels.
So we're excited for that a lot, but we're also just excited for Indie PopCon in general. We have a lot of friends in, not even in the YouTube sphere, but just people that we've met through YouTube. Our buddy James, our buddy Matt, they're all going to be there, and they were there last year, and we had a great time with them. They're coming out this year as well, so we get to hang out with our buddies. And of course, we will be doing our normal thing of going completely nuts and trying to find 1,000 faces for some weird shit, trying to interview celebrities, interviewing cosplayers, the usual shenanigans. And I'm sure we'll be vlogging most of the journey as well.
You will be. I'll be driving.
Yeah, I tend to be the vlog guy.
Because I gotta be in control of the car.
Yeah, I can do that now.
Yeah, I'm not letting you. I've already had enough issues with my car.
You don't want to put me back.
No. I don't think you want to crash that and have to pay for it.
Yeah, you're right. So that's really exciting, and that's coming up in a week or so. And we're, of course, going to try and get as much content as possible for that. That's good news. That's a good thing that's coming to us here soon. We were a little worried there for a minute with some of our work schedule stuff, but it should be good. And after that, and this is almost, I wouldn't say it's better, but it's definitely more.
It's smaller.
Flattering.
It's smaller, but it's.
Yeah.
We're more involved.
Yeah, we're more involved. It's definitely more flattering. You guys will remember last year we covered the biggest game developer conference in St. Louis, which is Pixel Pop. And Pixel Pop is hosted by a lot of the bigger names in gaming in St. Louis. Butterscotch Shenanigans, those types of guys are always huge parts of it. But it's mostly hosted or co-created by Carol Mertz, who is a good friend of ours. And she's currently studying gaming in New York.
NYU, I believe.
NYU. So she left St. Louis, even though she was such a huge part of the scene here, to go and study there. There's an interview with her where she talks about that we did last year. But she's coming back for Pixel Pop because it's her baby. And also Mary as well is going to be a big part of that, Adrian's missus. So basically, this time around, Carol reached out to us and said, hey, you guys did such a great job with all the developer stuff last year. How would you feel?
Which is fun fact, because that was 90% you, because that was the day I found out Grandma died.
Yeah, I remember.
I remember that.
You came for the second day, though.
Yeah. Well, no, Saturday I wasn't there because I had work.
There was only 2 days.
I know.
The first day you were there.
Yeah, I was there the second day, and that's the day that morning I'd found out she'd passed away.
Right.
So hopefully it'll be better this year.
You weren't in super high spirits.
No. Yeah. I remember doing the fucking Global game? Glogo, yeah. That game was a lot of fun. I remember doing that, and I remember playing the cupcake game.
Yeah,
game.
Battle Cakes.
Yeah. See, you remember the shit because my brain was all over the place at that point.
So we've been invited to be the official video partners of Pixel Pop this year, 2018, which means that we're basically scheduled.
The shit?
Yeah, we're for two folks. That's a lot of work, but they want us to try and record every panel that goes on, as well as go around and do our usual thing of getting Elgato footage and interviewing developers that are there, and kind of going through all the games and stuff that are kicking around.
We need to bring a hard drive with us.
We will. So this is going to be interesting for us. Now we don't fully know how we're going to do this yet, and I'm pointing this out because, as you can see, there are two of us, and there are panels going on all day, every day, for 2 days, and also we still need to walk around and interview developers and record game footage and that kind of stuff. So we're kind of trying to figure out a way with the co-creators and stuff of the festival right now that we can, I think they're looking to get like a second DSLR, have a volunteer run it, and then basically we'll probably just end up doing the editing or something like that.
Which, if you're doing that for panels, you just log it on.
It's super easy.
And we put the task cam there, record audio, you're fine.
Done. But yeah, so we're hoping to put all that stuff together for them. But because we're an official partner, we get our name on the banners and everything, and we're in all the paperwork.
Yeah, there was a text there between him and Wheezy. Like, do you have this? And then like a whole day went by, and I was like, can you tell me what this is for? And like, it's Pixel Pop. I was like, oh, okay, thank you. I was just confused.
Yeah,
I trusted you. I was just confused.
So that's a huge honor for us because not only do we love the St. Louis developer scene, and we try and go to as much of that stuff as possible, which isn't easy for us at all, but it's just nice to do something in your hometown, and also being recognized as actually one of the few people that goes out of their way to record these things, because these panels are so fucking full of useful information that if you're not in that room at that time, just gets lost in the ether. No one's recording it. So we get to be the gatekeepers of that, and we get to kind of, put that together in a way that we have good footage, good audio, splice it all up nice, and then put it on the internet so it lives forever for you guys to watch.
From a production standpoint, like it's funny because I feel like my life has gone full circle when it comes to production-wise, because live audio and video is some of the hardest stuff you'll be able to do. Because like when you're doing a video shoot like this, if we fuck up at some point, like in the intro, we can start again and just do it again. If you're live and you miss something or something like the audio screws up, whatever it may be,
second chance.
There's no chance. It's done.
Prime example, last year, we recorded one with our own microphone, came out sounding great. For the second one, they were like, do you want the audio straight from the board? Or like, sure. And they fucked up. Yeah. So the audio from the board sounded miserable. So it took me God knows how long to get it sounding even halfway decent. But it came out all right in the end. It wasn't great, but
But live audio and video is
and again, like we just said, it doesn't happen twice. So you get it while you're there, or you don't get it at all, essentially. And sometimes that's just the way shit goes. I mean, we've had like hours of footage get corrupted or lost before now, so we're used to that, believe me.
More than I think we get a share.
Yeah. So that's really exciting as well. So we have those are the two kind of big things that we have. So we have Indie PopCon, where we have our own panel on a larger stage in the main conference, and we also just get to see our friends and hang out and have a great time, which was always a good time. And then we have this Pixel Pop thing coming up, where we're the main video AV guys, and we're going to be there getting all this amazing footage of this indie stuff, which, as you know, if you're a viewer of Indie Please Add Details, is like huge for us. That is actually where we came up with Indie Please Add Details last year.
Yeah.
We were literally on lunch at the conference.
And we were like, TCSX is not working.
Yeah, I mean, we tried. It was great having a PlayStation podcast, but honestly, there's probably a bunch of people that do that, including PlayStation. So what we wanted to start doing was shining a light on the little guys. We were like, these guys that are in here need as much exposure as possible. What can we do to help them? So that's where Indie came born from, and right about now we're, like you said, coming full circle, which is really, really cool. Yeah, 1 year, and we're back there. We already have an established indie podcast, and we're recording all the indie guys. So it's awesome.
What I think is real funny is I feel like our channel has we're technically what 3.5 years old,
something like that.
But I feel like we're only like 2 years old. Because of when we switched everything. Yeah, it's like I feel like we finally have October. Was it last year? There's no way it's last
Halloween.
year. Was it really just October last year?
We have,
because we had other stuff going on before that, but that's when we nailed down what we have now. Because Pixel Pop last year.
Well, think about how many episodes of stuff we have.
Pixel Pop, was that when we launched TCSX and all that, or that had been going on?
No, it was before that.
So we hadn't launched yet. So we were about to launch, and that's when we were like, Because we had recorded a couple episodes.
No, we'd done like 5 episodes of TCSX when we got to Pixel Pop. It wasn't until
I don't know timeline.
We got there, and then we were like, yeah, it's not working. Maybe we should do this instead.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's
I feel like we finally hit our stride. Yeah, we finally hit our stride not too long ago, and it's like you said, we've almost doubled in the last year, which is cool to think about.
Yeah. It's definitely, everything is moving in the right direction, which is, and then slow and steady wins the race.
And on top of everything else too, like if you didn't see it, I put up an interview yesterday with one of the founders from Spearhead Games, who made both Omen Sight and Stories Path of Destinies. Those are going to be happening more and more, hopefully.
Yeah.
As long as I can make the connections happen. That was literally the test run to be like, I told the guy, I go, if this works, we got this. If this fails, well, we learned.
For what it's worth, I think it looks great and sounds great. So we're really excited about that.
Just a couple things I want
by the way,
I would tweak going forward.
If you're watching this now,
but I'm hoping to get more and more of that stuff. The stuff that you can't get other places is kind of what we want to do. The exclusive, like we said, the festivals and the conventions is a lot of fun, especially with Pixel Pop with the access we're going to have. But then I feel like a lot of times we meet these developers and when the game comes out, we cover it, but we don't really talk to them about their life. And I want to do a little series kind of behind the scenes of like, what's it like being an indie dev? And maybe it's a documentary of talking to 6 people and just saying, hey, tell me your story, or just tell me about your game that you're working on.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to the doors that have opened because we were able to successfully
We've definitely made strides in the gaming community in general, but the important thing to remember, I think, is that every major developer started as an indie developer. So as you start making these relationships with people, younger people, especially, that have a big career ahead of them, then you start really kind of getting this kind of beautiful insight into where they started, into where they end up.
Well, it's like when
I'm really excited to see where TJ ends up.
When I interviewed Malik was like, "Yeah, I work on Assassin's Creed and Dead Space," and I was like, "Wait, what?
Yeah.
Who's the founder of Spearhead?" So I was like, "Oh,
yeah.
you know things.
You're a guy."
But it's the other way around. Like, there's people that we are working with now that 4, 5, 6 years down the road, they could be heading up Activision.
I'm fully convinced that at least 1 or 2 of the people that we've talked to are going to go on to huge things. I think TJ is going to go on to huge things.
Yeah.
Just because that guy's brain is insane. But also like Cody Starcher as well from who did God, what was that game?
No Mercy.
No Mercy. Yeah, that was it. That guy has got a good head on his shoulders. I think he's going to go really far. But it's just, and you know what? Even if they don't, even if they stay indie forever, they're still making wonderful art. They're still making games that are worth your time, and they're still doing things that are worth being seen. The thing that we always came out with was that we are indie media. We're indie media for indie people. We do the VR podcast because VR is an emerging market, and pretty much every game on there, or 90% of the games on there, are fucking indie games.
Which is part of the problem.
Which is part of the problem, but also hopefully eventually part of the solution.
Yes.
It took indie games a long time to get to the quality of standard that they are today. If you think about early indie games, most of them were gash. They were terrible. If you didn't have the money of a big studio behind you, you just weren't getting anywhere. The same goes for music, though. If you look at, like, back in the day when someone recorded a record in the garage or whatever, like, maybe it was okay, probably sounded terrible. You had to find money to buy a studio and get a real engineer and do all that kind of stuff. Nowadays, with the advancements and quality of being able to record stuff yourself, you're at a point where like anybody can make something that sounds like it came out of a studio. And that's kind of this weird arc that the indie development went through, where it went through this phase of like the tools from Unity and all these other engines becoming so kind of easy to use and easy to grasp, and kids are learning coding in school, and so now we're at a point where we're just seeing these incredible titles like we talked about earlier in the show. Inside is a top 10 of all time.
Super excited for Stacks on Stacks on Stacks.
Stacks on Stacks. When that fucker comes out,
that game he told me it's almost done.
Nice.
So I'm excited.
So we love seeing this stuff and covering it, and it really is what brings us joy in life, I think. We love the podcast, don't get me wrong. Like, those are always going to be our staple, but getting out in the field and doing this stuff is one of my favorite.
Selfishly is the most enjoyable.
Selfishly. Absolutely selfishly. It's one of the most enjoyable.
We can't do that every weekend, though. It's one of those things where, like you said, you have to have this as kind of like your main course, and then you go out and every so often you'll have a fancy dinner.
Yeah.
And that's what that is.
Exactly.
You're going to get your fancy dinner.
And live streams are fast food.
Yeah. So, hoping to go to get more fancy dinners as time goes along, because there's more and more, like, we've talked off stream of like potentially going to more developer based events. So like PAX East would be cool. GDEX would be cool. We've looked at. I don't know about E3. Everything I've heard is just it's not worth going. But PAX,
I don't think it'd be worth it for us.
But PAX has got that indie booth, the mega indie booth there. That would be so fun to just talk to those people and just make that connection.
So,
or PAX South. There's 4. Well, I think there's 5 now because I think they have Australia as well.
Nice.
So
that's kind of just what I wanted to talk about. Really, just like half apologizing and sort of trying to explain the time away, because we know that sucked. But also, we hope that you understand. We know that you understood. We know no one's holding that against us. But more importantly, most of the bad shit's gone. We have Indie to look forward to, E3 to look forward to, Pixel Pop to look forward to, and all these kind of amazing things that are happening for the channel piece by piece. Not least to mention this new layout and kind of the new style, and hopefully you guys dig that too. We're soliciting feedback on it right now, so if you do have thoughts on the layout or on the bumpers or on anything that you want to sort of share with us, please do. We would appreciate it very much. And really, it's nice to be back. Yeah. That's all we wanted to say. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Level 2 podcast, the official one, episode 61. And thank you to you for staying awake for it.
I'm going to get some food. I'm hungry.
Of course, Indie Please Add Details went up yesterday, and Codename Morpheus went up on Thursday. You can go back and check those guys. They all have the new format. They all should look pretty slick. And we would love to solicit feedback on those too. Thank you so much for bearing with us for our time away. We really are excited to show you some cool stuff from Indie and Pixel and everything going forward. And thank you so much for watching. As always,
welcome to the second level. Bye.
No game.